So I have been doing this AI journey for how long now? I'm not really sure. I'm just kind of playing around with all the tools. And one of the big motivations for me to be able to do this is because of really you guys, for everybody that's on Twitter and all that, because we have this weird tendency in the programming industry where everything that's new becomes like the de facto thing that you should do every single time. Unquestioningly, I don't know how this shift has happened, because it's very interesting, because in 2014 when React came out, there's actually like a really heavy kind of pushback on React, the technology, right? People really were skeptical. People really had on a pretty critical eye, and then as they used it and they kind of weighed the differences in class components versus jQuery, there was actually some pretty good stuff that was going on there. I actually don't think it was that bad. And so when all of that happened, it kind of just showed that the industry still had a really critical eye. And I think that was actually a sign of a healthy industry. I don't think that today is a sign of a healthy industry. And what I mean by that is that anything that's new is automatically deemed better than what was before. It does not matter what it is. It's just like, this is now better. This is now our life. We all are going to live this. And when, say, Copilot came out, there's just so many people almost with zero hesitation, like zero worry about the past. We're just like, this is better. Everybody should just do this path. If you don't do this path, you are losing everything, right? And it's just like, okay, hold on. Let's time out. Let's take a step back and try to go about this in a more critical way. And so I have been like experimenting on myself. I did a year of using Copilot. I'm doing a year without Copilot. Now I'm doing another year, but I'm hand rolling my own, trying to make my own version of Copilot and try to see, can I build something that's actually better? Is single line autocompletion, which is, by the way, that's my hypothesis, by the way, that single line autocompletion is actually the best single way to use AI for programming if you have some level of expertise. And here's kind of like my general thesis of it all, is that AI tools are largely designed for people who don't know how to code. It's kind of like they're almost attempting to replace no code with AI. And I really think that's just such a stupid and bad attempt at life. I think they're so much better. I think it's just so much better than doing that. And so I'm trying to think about, how do you create a tool that's not designed for yet another just like person that barely knows what they're doing, but how do you design a tool that's truly designed for you? And like what I mean is, like, there's such like little tiny things that you could make Copilot so much better for. As you type, it doesn't try to autocomplete when your cursor is sitting still, right? That's just so annoying. As you type, it waits for you to hit, like, say, a single keyword or enough of an identifier for it to be able to launch off and say, hey, this is an identifier. We're doing this now. Okay, go, right? Like some pretty good ways you can use Tree Sitter to really understand, like, contextually what's happening within your program. But even more so, as it completes and as you accept this, why not go to the next line and properly indent your cursor, right? You've accepted that line. Move on like you're already programming it, right? Like, really try to make something that's actually designed for somebody that's know what they're doing and just actually running fast. And so I really want this whole idea of just like, how do I run as fast as possible? How do I how do I make something that's designed for somebody that knows what they're doing? And so I think that's like the big thing about AI, and that's just our whole industry just latches onto the first thing, as opposed to sitting back and going, okay, let's try to figure out great ways to use this. I just want something that's like really, really good. I don't want something that's just constantly giving me stuff. I don't want to have to go to a separate UI. I don't want something that creates their own files and fills in everything, right? I still want to be the driver of the AI. I want the AI to be a force multiplier. I don't want it to be a separate force. Does that make sense? Right? I do not like separate force and me. I don't want two engineers. I want one engineer, me. I want to be 50% faster. That's what I want. And so it's just like, I'm having a hard time with everything. And that's kind of why I'm doing all this. This is why we're doing the whole AI exploration, is because the whole industry is just absolutely borked. And I'm not sure if it's driven by Wall Street, if it's driven by people who truly believe this. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, well, actually, yeah, it's totally just hyped by Wall Street trying to make money. I'm actually not convinced of that. I'm actually convinced that there's like a whole bunch of different factors. And now we're just in a weird spot. Like, you will go on Twitter and you can open up Twitter and search AI, and it will tell you multiple times you never need to learn a hard skill. That's an insane take. Like, that is an insane take. I do mean that. Like, don't do that. You will literally ruin your next 20 years if you take that advice. I'm just telling you, okay? Just calm down. Let's all be a bit more skeptical, but properly skeptical. Do you know what I mean? Properly skeptical is where you observe from far because there could be danger. And I think that that's really important, is that a proper skeptic still observes and still gets in, right? Like that, I think, is the most important part of it all, right? Is you still have to engage and be thoughtful. You don't just simply fully this is my personality now. I am now an LLM. It's crazy. Anyways, there you go. That's what I'm doing all this. I'm just trying to encourage you guys, okay? Because I want my ultimate goal is that everybody in here gets $1 million job, and then all of you guys can give me $5 a month. It's just $5 a month. How do you have countless hours to watch Twitch and you don't have $5 a month? The name is give me that $5 a month, Jin.